So I recently visited the UK. I went to a handover of one of my friends there. So I visited London, but also the countryside. And in today's video, I wanted to just quickly tell you a little bit what I discovered after I returned to the UK after 2 years living in Sweden. And I realized that there are quite a few things I'm grateful for here in Sweden. So I want to compare these things a little bit and tell you what I think is so much better here in Sweden than in the UK. Sorry, UK. So if you're new to my channel, I'm originally from Germany, but before I moved to Sweden, I lived in the UK for 10 years, precisely in London. So that's also why I compare a little bit UK with Sweden rather than maybe just Germany. I know the UK, or at least London, quite well. And yeah, after 2 years now living in Sweden, I returned to London and the UK in the countryside. And I was a little bit shocked. Maybe sometimes you don't see the things when you live in a country and then you go somewhere else and have a good comparison. And it made me feel really grateful living in Sweden. So let me go through 4 things I discovered and then let's talk about it in the comments down below. So the first thing I obviously discovered is that London is very overwhelming. I used to love the city. You know, there was a lot of buzz around. I really loved the excitement, the opportunities. Of course, I cannot really compare it with Stockholm because it's so much smaller. But at the end, they are both capitals of the countries. And I do prefer a quieter city. Maybe it's just me, my personality, and maybe it's also the age. I'm not 20 anymore. I think I was 27, 26 when I moved to London after I studied. I was a bit late because I did an apprenticeship before, but yeah, that's maybe for another video. So I was 26 when I moved to London and it was the world to me. It was so exciting. I had no fear, you know, it was great. And now I went back to London. I just felt overwhelmed. I mean, there was still a little bit of excitement in there. I just walked around a little bit looking at things, although I went to my own neighborhood and it actually hasn't changed a lot. There were some new buildings, but that was about it. It still looked the same. So it also felt a bit familiar. But yeah, I just felt it's too many people, too much going around. Like, you have to make so many decisions. What do you do? Do you go in this cafe? Do you go in that cafe? I mean, yes, of course, Stockholm also has a lot of variety of restaurants and cafes and stuff like that. But London is just overwhelming. That's the word. I can describe it. And I was just really thankful that I'm now here. I know that some people don't even like Stockholm, but I find it so much more enjoyable than London these days. And of course, I even live now outside of Stockholm, so it's quieter. And I really embrace the quieter lifestyle these days. So another thing I was aware of it, but now I'm really grateful for. UK is quite dirty. So we were driving from London to the countryside for like 4 hours. So there was a lot to see left and right out of the car. And I could not believe when there is a kind of restaurant drive, you know, you drive and you can actually get out of the car and get some food and stuff like that. And then you drive on the road again. There is so much litter. I could not believe it. It looked disgusting. I don't understand people. They have no respect for nature. I felt really sad about it. And then I look here at Sweden and even in Stockholm and the bigger cities, although this was actually outside of London, so it was in the countryside. I felt so sad, and I was really grateful that people here have so much more respect towards nature, where they live. You know, they're very aware. They should just keep it clean, you know, for their own sake. But yeah, in the UK, it was really sad. And I came to appreciate that people are very respectful here. And I'm definitely one of them. I would not want to litter, especially seeing that in the UK. And then talking about being in a car and seeing, you know, the country, there is so much traffic jam in the whole of UK. Okay, or at least from London to the countryside, 4 hours out of London. So it's actually a lot. It's not only in the city where you actually expect a lot of traffic jam, and I think it took us at least an hour as well to get out of London. But even after that, there was so much traffic and there were so many accidents. I could not believe it. Another thing I was really sad about, I don't know what it is, if it is the roads, like how it works, like why there are so many accidents, but it was not great to see. And I think every 30 minutes there was a traffic jam. Sometimes I couldn't even see why, but most of the time it was accidents. And I don't know, in 4 hours driving, we had at least 4 or 5 traffic jams where it was really slow, or partially we even had to stop for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. I didn't count. I know this country has a significant higher population number than Sweden, so maybe it's a bit unfair of me to compare it. Although when I look at Germany, this is not something I remember that there was a lot of traffic jam, especially not outside of big cities, and a lot of accidents, although you don't have a speed limit at times in Germany. So I can definitely also compare it to Germany, and it's not the same case. So UK must do something wrong, I would say. I don't know. But it was quite shocking to see so much traffic jams, so many accidents. If you know anything more, why you think that happens all the time in the UK, let me know down in the comments below. And the last thing I realized, and maybe it's a bit of a generalization, but I went to a really beautiful place in the UK. It's called Derby, or that's the city. It was close to the town Derby in Derbyshire, I think it's called. And there was a beautiful lake next to our Airbnb, but I was a bit shocked. I mean, there were people on like little boats or sailing boats, so you could definitely go on the waters. But what I didn't see was any opportunity to go swimming in the lake. And then I even asked someone who used to live there if there is no swimming opportunity. And she said not that she's aware of, and she used to live there. And then you see these signs everywhere. It's like a conservation area. You could at times not even go close to the water. And I think it's probably related to the lack of respect people show there. So they actually have to put up fences to make sure that the animal which live there are protected, that they, can just live there and don't have to be like exposed to litter, for example, which is very sad, right? But yeah, I don't think you could go swimming there. And I was, again, really grateful that I can go anywhere here in Sweden, in Stockholm even, and you have these little beaches. You can literally swim everywhere. There are little beaches where you can go, but you can go into the water anywhere you want. And I think the water is clean enough here. And maybe it's not clean in the UK. I know there's wild swimming and stuff going on, and there's also the ocean, and you obviously can go swimming there in the UK. I'm not saying you cannot go swimming anywhere in the UK, but it seems there are very dedicated places. Whilst here in Sweden, it's literally everywhere. And of course, even like Stockholm has a lot of islands around and the ocean, but also a lot of lakes. I live 10 minutes by bike close to a lake with several beaches. And, it just made me feel very grateful that I have this opportunity. I can just do it. And that made me very happy to live here in Sweden. So let me know if you're from the UK, or if you have visited the UK, or if there's anything you are grateful for now living here in Sweden rather than UK, then let me know down in the comments below. I hope you also felt a little bit more grateful for living in Sweden, and I will see you in my next video. Have a great day and stay safe. Hey då!